Hey everyone, hello and welcome, Tony Bing here. Now, with the latest update to the test centre, we've had a whole host of changes to various mechanics within the game. Now, as a result of this, what I'll do is a new style format video I'm trying called What's New. It's basically when the test centre goes up, a quick What's New video covering various different changes. Now, I will still do individual videos for heroes, so later on today I will be doing a Cyclops video because he's had a lot of changes. There's a lot of new things to show off, but for this particular video, in no particular order, what I will be showcasing is the changes to cores, which are now Catalyst cores, and the team up changes, which include you no longer have skill points for team ups. They can use all skills at level 60, and also team up synergy. We'll also be covering the Hulk visual update, and then the new slot, which is Flourish. Bit of a strange name, but this is a way of showing off your visual effects such as your graffiti sprays and so on, like your hero for hire spray that you got during the Luke Cage event. And then finally I'll be doing a bit of battling with some of the bosses that have had changes, so we can show their new skills there. So a lot to cover. Now, what I will do, if there's any particular section you want to find, there is hyperlinks within the actual description in this video, so just scroll down and click on that if you want to jump to any particular section. But we'll start off with a nice easy part. We'll look at the Hulk visual update first.
Time to smash!
Now, for this section we'll have a look at the Flourish slot. So it's just here, just next to your insignia and your pet, and it's nice and simple. There's various visual items within the game that are now actually tagged with the Flourish tooltip, as you can see there on the party in the box, and also on the spray paint we can see it says Flourish. So any item with this on it can be placed into this slot, and you can keybind it to a certain key to use it, which is great there. It's no longer using a slot anywhere else. So we'll show off the Iron Man spray paint first. The visuals appear to have been made larger as well, I'm pretty certain. There we go, more pronounced as well, I'm sure. We'll go for the shield one next. In the moment I am activating this by clicking on it, but as mentioned you can use a keybind for it if you wish. We'll go for something a bit different with the Winter Star. It's quite buggy. You'll notice I dropped that in and it's not showing, but if I open it back up it shows. Because it's quite early days, there are quite a few bugs in this particular build. And then we'll show one final one. Has to be the Hawkeye one, the best one. There we go. Do like that. Would be pretty good to do that after maybe taking down a particularly hard boss. Do your little signature visual there. Now, certain items work in it as well. Unfortunately the ninja in a box doesn't, but the party in a box does. So let's show this off. There we go. It also works for the fireworks, but unfortunately I don't have any. They're an item that I had quite a few times throughout the game, but I unfortunately trashed them because I didn't see any use for them. So hopefully I'll be able to pick them up again at some point. But a nice simple change, something that's quite nice and adds a bit of customization to your character. So for the next section we will have a look at the team ups. The changes here will include the removal of skill points and also the team up synergy as well. So with this particular test centre update, the first team up change we were made aware of was the long awaited team up synergies. Now what they do is pretty simple, but it is the first iteration of this. It may be subject to change, but they do still add use. So we'll look at the team up synergies first, and then we'll look at a change which was made a day later, which is quite a significant one to team ups. So for the synergies, you have a little icon down here, and as we can see it's not surprisingly called Team Up Synergy. Now with this, as you level your team up, for each level you go up, your team up gains 1% base damage. So that's up to a maximum of 60, and you can see it says that on the tooltip there. And then what we have, which makes it a bit more different, is once your team up hits level 60, they gain 2% base damage, but this base damage applies to all the team ups in your roster, and that works for up to a maximum of 50 team-ups. Now currently, including variants, including fortune card team-ups and event team-ups and so on, there are a total of 58 if I counted correctly in the game, so you could get the max amount straight away if you're a collector. I know I'm certainly not far off it myself. Now the actual full bonus you'll be looking at then is 100%, because you're 2% per team up times 50. Nice and simple there. It does say I currently have 60%, but if we look through my team ups, I know for a fact I've got more than 30. So I think there's a little bug there, but again, this is the first time this particular section has been on the test centre, so there will be the odd little issue. As you can see, I really am a bit of a collector with all the team ups I have there. But let's now look at the next section, which is quite a big change, which is the removal of skill points from team ups. Now before we look at the changes to the skills, what I'll do is I'll switch over to a team up that I don't actually have at level 60 yet. So the only team up that's like that is Doctor Strange. So we can see at level 35 he has 6 skills unlocked. No longer the need to put skill points into them. The skill is simply unlocked once you reach that particular level. So if we look at the skills that are unlocked, we have Seal of the Fishante that unlocks at level 39. Then Shield of the Seraphim unlocks at level 45. Seraphim's Grace, level 54. And then finally your signature, not surprisingly, that unlocks at level 60 there. So certainly making things a lot simpler, and because all characters or all team up heroes at level 60 will now do the same amount of damage, because they all have access to the same skills and they're not scaling at all. Your only real damage variance from team ups will come from your team up gear. Now one of the concerns I have seen on the forum, which is very valid, is that a lot of people would purposely avoid channeled skills on team ups, because if you're zipping round the map, your team up decides to channel a skill that's got a few seconds channel, you actually lose them for a period of time there. So potential solution I've seen, and one which I think is great, is giving people the option to enable or disable the actual skills, and it also works from the perspective of role playing players that maybe don't like certain skills that some of the team ups use. They don't feel they're entirely lore appropriate. So it's an interesting change. For this particular one, I'm really curious to know you guys' thoughts, so please let me know in the comments what you actually think of this. Is it positive? Is it more of a negative change due to the fact you're now lumped with all these skills, including channels and non-lore appropriate skills? Let me know below anyway. Now for the next section, we'll have a look at the Catalyst course. Now for this next section, we'll have a look at the changes to cores. Now there really is quite a lot to get your head round here, so if you bear with me while we're going through this particular section, if there's anything I do miss, feel free to ask in the comments and I'll happily jump back on and check it if I need to. But we can see to the right of our costume slot, we now have the Catalyst slot. So the way this works is your cores have now been detached from your costume and they've got their own unique slot. Now the great thing about this is for players such as myself who had, let's say, Hawkeye at the full level, his visual update came out and I no longer had the ability to get his default costume, which we can see here, which looks absolutely fantastic. Now with the new setup, what we can actually do is we just pull the costume out, and let's put this away here, and then we can see his nice original base costume, which I believe all the heroes are probably going to get a visual update to their base costume, so a lot of people will be wanting to see it. Now we can actually see that we can still have a core here, which we drag and drop. So we've got a nice new tooltip. It's a bit invasive and there doesn't appear to be a way to dismiss it, but imagine if you go in options, you could probably disable tooltips altogether there. But now that that's away, we can see we've got the core there, and we don't need to have a costume there at all, so we can still see the visual update on the original costume. But I'll pop the Hawkeye costume back in again. Now with this particular core, we can see the name of the cores has changed, but I'll cover that at the end, because the consequences of it are minimal, because the same characters still use the same cores, simply the names have been changed. But I have the health on hit, which I had before. It's went up from 400 to 418. The spirit and medkit hasn't changed at all. The invulnerability on medkit, which I had, is now changed to cosmic effects. That's really quite different, and it says gain a damage shield equal to 50% of your maximum health when you use your med kit. So I really do think that is still quite powerful. I do think it's a change that had to be made. It was too much relying on your med kit to just avoid a lot of attacks. I know to an extent we can now do that with the vulnerability on dashes, but the dashes are on a cooldown and you will be using them to get to the boss and so on, so they're not always going to be there for you. We can see the crafted affixes are down the bottom of this as well. Now, as a tooltip error, you won't be getting this amount of crit damage rating from it because it's insane. If I hold down the Alt key, you can see the original affixes there. So the 382, 765, 1177, and then finally the 1648 there. So you're not going to be getting the, what is it, the 3.8 thousand, 3.5, 2.7 and 1.6 thousand. You're not getting that, sadly. That maybe be a bit too powerful. Now what we will do, we'll now discuss the different rarities that you actually have on your costume course. They've been broken into 4 different rarities. As you can see, I have one particular one here. So with this particular setup, this actual core we're looking at, this would be classed as an epic core, and that would have 3 affixes. Your uncommon core would have 1 affix, your rare core would have 2 affixes, the epic, which we've just looked at, has 3, and then finally your cosmic one would have 4 affixes, and also the cosmic affix as well. Now we can see that this epic one has a cosmic affix, but I simply believe that's a tooltip error, and it shouldn't be there at all. One great thing about this particular change is now you're no longer going to be picking up a load of cores and not knowing how many affixes they have if they're junk, so we can basically keep an eye out for those cosmic cores, so that's good. It means there's going to potentially be items we're just going to ignore and not pick up, so fingers crossed that gets put into the loot vaporizer once you're at the point where uncommon, rare and epic are no longer useful for you, because of course the tiers of gear will be useful to players as they level up, but once you hit max level you can just keep an eye out for the cosmic cores there. Now if we go over and have a look at the actual cores here, one thing we can see, not with this particular one, but one thing we will see in a moment, is the names of some of the cores that have actually changed. So we have the adamantium core, and the name in that has just remained the same. And then we have it's now called Advanced Technological Systems. That used to be the Vibranium core. And then we have Cosmic Spirit, which used to be the Mcran core. And then we have Genetic Mutation, that was the X gene, if I recall correctly. And then Mystical Energies, which is for your magic heroes, that used to be Promethium. And then we have Radioactive Isotope, so that appears just to be the same there, I'm pretty sure. That's what that was called on live as well. Now I've not actually picked up any new cores, so I don't have any new affixes, but I'm certain if you go onto the forums within the test centre, there have been some pictures. I think it was Azros actually that posted some pictures of some of the new affixes you can get on the course. Some of them look really quite interesting. I believe one of them was even Spirit when you used a skill. It was potentially maybe even 5 Spirit when you used a skill, so I think I'll be looking out for that on Hawkeye anyway, if his current Spirit issues stay the same as they actually are. So it's definitely interesting. There are quite a lot of bugs with this particular section, and there's still a lot to be done with it, but overall I do think it's a positive change. The invulnerability being removed had to be done at some point, and I believe that they've still made the effects useful, especially if you're on characters like Colossus or Thing with huge health pools. Then it'll be really nice. And we also have the fact that the benefit of being able to pull out the slot and go back to your visual costume if you've blended all your other ones without any kind of loss of DPS there. So that's great. So quite a lot to cover in that particular section there, as I mentioned. The next one I'll look at is a nice fun easy one where I'll go have a look and I'll fight with some of these bosses that have had changes, and we can see if we can see them new animations. Now for this last section we'll have a quick look at some of the boss changes. Now there has been changes to the mechanics of Green Goblin, Living Laser, Blob and Toad, and also Tombstone. Now Tombstone can be a bit kinda difficult to get to spawn, it's really very random, and I've had to hunt around for Blob and Toad, but I can't actually find them at all. It looks like that particular section you would normally find them in is being changed, so what we'll do is a quick run through the raft, and that will allow us to see Living Laser and also Green Goblin changes. I'll just run past most of the enemies here. it will allow any players that actually haven't seen the changes to the raft to have a little look at it. It does look very nice, as you can see. I really hope they do add the option of being able to quickly dismiss the tooltips, because I do like to have them on just to make sure I'm not missed anything with the changes, but it's a bit off-putting when it's ticking down there and you can't just quickly dismiss it if you've read it. There we go, let's have a little look at it. I really do like stuff like that. I wish there was a lot more of this throughout the story, because for geeks, when you see things like that, it's really nice. Here we go, it's coming up on Living Laser now. So what I'll do, I could probably take him down quite quick with the gear I've got in Hawkeye, but I'll just run about him a little bit so we can see some of the attacks. So that one there I believe has been slowed down. Don't know if he's had any kind of visual change as well. Sometimes with all the changes in this game, there's definitely a placebo effect. That was a nice new skill there, where I think some skills have changed and then when I check in live they actually haven't. This kind of update's given me a newfound appreciation for quite a lot of the game. As we can see, he spams that skill a lot. He is an early level villain, so of course we wouldn't want using a lot. Nice telegraph skill there. It does look very nice, the visual on it. I think that's all we're getting out of him for now, so we'll take him down and then we'll have a look at Green Goblin. That was easy enough. These changes they have made to early game in the first 3 chapters that I have played through, they massively improve it. They really do. Hopefully in time they have the resources to do that to the entire story. Make it a lot more fun, and if they really want to regain any new players that come in, then the story is pretty vital. At least for the new players. Grab them with the story and then keep them with the end game. Here we go, Green Goblin coming up now. Right, let's see. I'll just do a lot of running about here to avoid most of the attacks. There we go. So we can see all the kind of the visual tails now, so we can avoid those attacks. One thing they've mentioned with this particular update, I'm certain, is that they don't want bosses spamming attacks as quickly as they do. It's more telegraphed attacks that if you do use skill you can avoid the damage. There we go. Finding it easy enough really. I do have my movement speed pumped up a bit through infinity on him. There we go, I think we've seen most of them. So that's a definite improvement. It's all lore accurate, all the skills he's doing. He's not firing off all these cosmic circles that really make no sense. So fingers crossed that's the particular route they're going to take with the rest of the bosses. When you fight Green Goblin or you fight Juggernaut, you want to feel like you're fighting them. You don't want to feel like you're fighting a standard action RPG boss with lots of random affixes added onto them. Let's quickly take him down. There's actually one final thing I'll quickly show off that I forgot to mention at the start of this video. There we go. Need to pick up that Eternity Splinter. even though it's test centre, it's built into me that I must pick them up. So the section I was actually going to look at, let's just quickly talk to Nick Fury and then we'll get to Hub. There we go. Nice, lots of people on test centre anyway, which is great to see. Now, if we actually look down the bottom of the kind of the hub, we can see that we're starting to get the bare bones of the difficulty slider. So green is normal, then we've got red, then cosmic. It doesn't allow us to go to the next 2 tiers. So I'm curious what they would be, because above cosmic I would imagine it's really going to be a mega, but what else would that be? And then you also have these options to put them up higher as well. So they did mention on the test centre notes that this was just put into the UI, but it wasn't functional. But it's good to see things like that and show them off a little bit. So I hope this particular video was useful. There was certainly a lot to cover, and if you guys have got any comments or suggestions or any questions or any observations, please feel free to leave them below, and I'll get back to you. But I'll see you all again soon, and thanks for tuning in.